Hello, my name's Rita and I'm 52 years young. Um, I'm in a lot better condition than I was 8 years ago and especially 5 years ago. I had lots of things going wrong in my life. Listening to the radio, I couldn't stand noise, I couldn't stand listening to children or things outside. I tried to walk and my legs would give way. And sometimes I'd be able to walk. Sometimes I could lift things and then I'd start dropping them. And my head used to it just go like that. And I'd have absolutely no control over it whatsoever. I stammered. Sometimes I couldn't get sentences out at all and people were finishing things for me, so I was getting frustrated. All in all, people had sort of thinking that my number was going to be up because it looked like I had they thought that I possibly had MS. Anyhow, I did have a job, and I used to go to work occasionally, and two people came to me with the same thing on the same day that they'd copied out of a magazine, and they said that they thought this might be something that had helped me. So I think really I was just humouring them by reading it because it just seemed impossible anything could go right. And but the more I read it, the more it felt like what was happening. This magazine was discussing attention neural syndrome, which was something I'd never heard of, but I related to everything that was written there, and it was the reason that I'd been so poorly, which I didn't realise was the reason, was all the emotional upset I'd had, from being a very young age. There was a lot of us as children, and crying wasn't really an option. It was you'll get something to cry for, so you used to bottle it up, and so you'd start with your tension there, and just things like I used to wet the bed and I felt pretty worthless. Growing up, and I had a failed marriage. I was married at 18. I had a failed marriage. It just didn't go well at all. And then I got out of that and I got married again, as you do. And I was quite happy with this marriage, we went to Ireland, and he got killed by a bomb, and but that could so easily have been me and my children, and I had the guilt then on top. Anyway, after Ian died, and I got married again, and this was pretty much on the rebound, and we had a little girl, and she got killed, and she was only 7, and by this time I'd got so much on my shoulders. I just didn't know why it was always me. My head was just mashed with all the bad things. It was always me, so I was worthless, useless, and it was okay because it had happened to me, because I wasn't special enough to be anything else, and all these hurts were on this shelf that I had in the back of my mind, and I was just starting to crumble, and this is when my legs started to give way, and my head, I just had no room left on this shelf. That's the only way I can explain it. I just got really, really ill, and I was depressed. My head, like I said, it was just like shaking all the time, and I looked like a cerebral palsy. The doctors thought I'd got multiple sclerosis. I was going to Leeds to the teaching hospitals. I had a failed lumbar puncture. I was in and out of hospital. I do see a very dear friend, and he's only got one leg, but he was pushing me in a wheelchair, and it just seems so odd. Anyhow, this newspaper clipping that we'd seen, it wasn't a magazine clipping that had been given. It was just so like everything that had happened to me, all this tension I had, and there was a program we could go on. So first of all, I read it all, and then I got in the car and I went to see my friend, so I could look on his computer. I'm going to look this up, you see, like things like that. And now I read on the website some things about Georgie and decided I'd contact her, and I did, and it was the best thing I ever did, because I know that if I hadn't met Georgie, if I hadn't gone through of all this, right, I'd still be in a wheelchair. I'd be the one being looked after, but I'm not. I'm doing the looking after now. But I could never have got there without going to this programme and going through it, and I cannot thank this person enough. She's given me my life back.